Good evening. Welcome to the daily bulletin of the Farmers' protest. Today is 13th February 2021. I mentioned that today I would be sharing information and updates about the ongoing farmers' protest in Delhi. It's almost become a misnomer to call it a farmers' protest in Delhi. The protest has spread all over India, and I will share visuals with you, information with you that clearly establishes that this is an all India movement. First, Mahapanchayats. Mahapanchayats are large gatherings of rural people who come from panchayats around the area. So, a panchayat is the smallest democratic unit in rural India, but a Mahapanchayat is one when dozens, perhaps hundreds of panchayats come together. People from these panchayats come together and hold a Mahapanchayat. This is for the farmers' movement. A Mahapanchayat is the same as political parties would hold mega rallies. A Mahapanchayat is a show of solidarity, of strength, of unity. So, let me share with you some details of Mahapanchayats. In Punjab, at Jagravan, a Mahapanchayat was held where 30,000 people, 30,000 farmers joined. In Charkhi Dadri in Haryana, there was a Mahapanchayat where 1 lakh people came. 1 lakh, 100,000 people. So these Mahapanchayats are being organized all over the country to show solidarity, to show unity, to show support, and to show the government that farmers of this country are together, are speaking in one voice and demanding that these 3 black laws made by Mr. Modi are repealed and a new law to guarantee MSP, to guarantee that farmers receive MSP is enacted. So Mahapanchayats are being held. I hope the government is seeing the numbers in those Mahapanchayats. I hope the government will soon understand that there is widespread support for the farmers' demands and condemnation of the government's attitude, the government's plan, the government's articulation that whether or not the farmers like these 3 farm bills, they will have to accept it. I don't think Mr. Modi should behave in this way. I don't think this is democracy when Mr. Modi wants to force laws on the people, the primary stakeholders of an issue. If they don't like a law which their elected government is making, the elected government must step back, must repeal those laws, and must engage with the primary stakeholders. That's how democracy should work. I know many BJP supporters on social media have been saying that you have to listen to the Prime Minister, you have to listen to Parliament, you have to listen to Supreme Court. But all these institutions represent and exist for the people. And when the people are expressing themselves so loudly and clearly, and these institutions refuse to listen, they become irrelevant in democracy. They become, and their action becomes undemocratic. It is not the people of a country who can become undemocratic. I must bring before you the story of Nodeep Kaur. She has been arrested by the Haryana police. She's an activist. She's a labor activist. She was associated with and working in the farmers' movement. They have not only arrested her, she has made allegations of sexual assault. If the government thinks that a very young woman activist can be maltreated, can be treated so brutally and inhumanly, and that will go unnoticed in a strong, vibrant democracy like India, the government has got its plot all mixed up. There is a campaign across the country to release Nodeep and to stop these atrocities. There was a signature campaign for release of Nodeep, which Youth for Swaraj held at the Tikri border, and we are demanding freedom. We are demanding release of Nodeep. We are also demanding release of the 300 odd people who have been arrested and detained. These people are protesters, are democratic protesters, and the government has put them behind bars in an attempt to quash, to forcefully suppress the protest. The Prime Minister himself is leading the charge. So we demand, and make this demand straight to the Prime Minister, that the detained farmer activists, leaders, and farmers must be released immediately. By detaining protesters, you cannot stop a movement. Mrs. Indira Gandhi learnt it the hard way when many Jansangh leaders were also arrested. She was ousted from power. Mr. Modi should not have to learn it the hard way as Mrs. Gandhi did. By arresting protesters, by arresting those who oppose you, you cannot wash away and wish away opposition. So, in protest of these detentions, in protest of these arrests, a march was held at the Singhu border, and these marches will continue. We've also received international support. Now, this is a mixed bag. There are a group of people who are saying that anyone who lives outside India, whether or not he or she is of Indian origin, must not speak about the farmers' protest. We've carefully considered this position, and we don't agree. It is not that the farmers' protest will fail or succeed based on who supports or does not support it from abroad. That's not relevant. That's not even important. What is important is, if India wants to be part of the world community of people, then India must recognize that people everywhere have a right to speak about what they feel is wrong in another country. The government of Burma, the democratic government of Burma, has been ousted. Military has taken over governance. There is military rule in Burma. Now, Burma is a foreign country. Can I not? Can you not? Can people in India not say that military rule in Burma is wrong, democracy must prevail in Burma? If we have the right to say that, then anyone living outside India also has the right to say that the mishandling of the farmers' movement by the government is incorrect. The government must not treat farmers of India as its enemy. So, international support is welcome, but let me make it absolutely clear. Farmers' movement is not internationally funded, not the proverbial hand of an invisible foreign power. There is no conspiracy. Farmers are fighting for their life and livelihood. That fight is a bona fide, genuine fight. That fight is born in the soil of India. That fight has been foisted on the people of India by Mr. Modi by enacting these three black laws. If Mr. Modi had not enacted these black laws, no foreigner would have had occasion to even comment about it. So if the Prime Minister of this country wants to go against the people of this country, the farmers of this country, then people who live in different countries can express their opinion about it. In the meanwhile, at Bengal, we have had a Kisan Adhikar Yatra. I will share with you photographs of that yatra. I was on that yatra for the last 3 days. I have had bulletins in the midst of that yatra. I hope some of you have been able to see it. So, the Mahapanchayats that I spoke about, this is a rough schedule of the Mahapanchayats. On 12th, which is already gone, it was at Bellary and Moradabad. On 12th, it was also held at DDM College at Bahadurgarh bypass in Haryana. On 18th February, it will be held at Raising Nagar, Sri Ganganagar, Rajasthan. On 19th February, it will be held at Hanumangarh in Rajasthan. On 23rd February, it will be held at Sikar in Rajasthan. Many more are being planned, and I will share details of that with you. In the meanwhile, the farmers' movements have decided that it is time to once again exhibit to the government the determination of the farmers. Our strategy is very plain, very simple, very clear. We have gathered in peaceful protest, in civil disobedience at the borders of Delhi because the Delhi police, led by Amit Shah, directed by the Prime Minister, did not allow the farmers to use a authorized protest site in Delhi. For a gathering of this size, the protest site should have been the boat club. The Delhi police refused to permit the protesters access to the boat club, and hence we are at the borders of Delhi. Now, once we are sitting there in this cold, in this inclement weather, we must, from time to time, send message to the government that we are here with determination and for good, and we will not go back till our demands are met. To do that, we have chalked out a few programs. All of them are in the nature of civil disobedience and will be completely peaceful. On 12th, the program has already been done. It's shutting down of the toll plazas, making Haryana toll plazas toll-free. On 14th, that's tomorrow, evening, there will be candlelight marches all across India. There will be torchlight marches all across India. I estimate that around 10,000 or more spots will see these marches and protests tomorrow evening. On 16th of February, which is the birth anniversary of the legendary farmer leader Sir Chotu Ram, there will be many programs for expressing unity among farmers, farm workers, and the working class people of India. On 18th February, there will be a token rail roko from 12 noon to 4 p.m. Again, a carefully chosen time when suburban railway is during non-peak hours and when long-distance trains normally do not operate. The rail roko is intended to tell the government that we are serious, just as we did the peaceful Chakka Jam on 6th of February. So these are some of the programs that have been planned. There will be more, there could be more, and there are lots of details that I'm not being able to share with you in this bulletin. Let me be very frank, I am sharing only some of the information that I have. Now let me share with you some pictures. Can we have the picture of the Samli Mahapanchayat? That's an impressive number. Then the Charki Dadri. That's even more impressive. That's a huge sea of people gathered in unity and solidarity. Then the Punjab Mahapanchayat. There again, the numbers are astonishing. Then the Haryana Mahapanchayat. These people are saying something and saying it clearly and loudly. I just hope the Prime Minister is able to hear. The campaign for release of Naudeep Kaur that was launched by Youth for Swaraj, the signature campaign. Here is a photograph from that. I can see Lavpreet ji, our Youth for Swaraj leader, there on that picture. And that's Naudeep Kaur, the signature campaign. Then a photo of the, a collage, so to say, of the international support on Twitter. I know it's not very clearly visible, but I assure you each one of them says that the farmers' movement receives their support. Now let me take you to the images of the Kisan Adhikar Yatra in Bengal. But first, I've been talking about this yatra and I've been saying that Mr. Modi has willy-nilly said that if you vote for me, I will give you the money that the government owes to you. This is his message to the Bengal farmer. This is what I've been saying. But let's look at Mr. Modi speaking himself. I'm sharing with you a clip of a video of his speech at Haldia in West Bengal on Sunday, 9th of February. Hear him.
मैं आज मां गंगा के तट पर खड़ा हूं तब मैं बंगाल के मेरे किसान भाइयों को विश्वास देने आया हूं। इस चुनाव के बाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनाना आपने तय कर लिया है। इस चुनाव के बाद भाजपा की सरकार बनने के बाद पहली कैबिनेट मीटिंग में भारत सरकार की किसानों की जो योजना है उसको तेज गति से लागू करने का निर्णय किया जाएगा। इतना ही नहीं, मैं बंगाल के किसानों को वादा करता हूं कि देश के और किसानों को जो लाभ मिला है, आपको जिस लाभ से वंचित रखा गया है, वो पुराने पैसे भी भारत सरकार बंगाल के किसानों को दे देगी।
So that's what the Prime Minister said. Let's just focus on the arrears. Each eligible farmer family in Bengal gets 12,000 rupees from the centrally government-sponsored PM Kisan Nidhi scheme, PM Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme. What I heard Mr. Modi saying is that when BJP forms the government in Bengal, these arrears will be paid. I don't know if you have heard or understood the same, but if he's saying that, he's also saying many things together. That in a very subtle way, if you vote for the BJP in Bengal, you will get the arrears. If you don't vote, you will not get the arrears. How will Mr. Modi know that you haven't voted? BJP will not win in Bengal. So BJP's victory in Bengal is connected to the farmers of Bengal receiving 12,000 rupee a year from the central scheme, which every farmer in India is entitled to. Farmers in Kerala who did not vote for BJP and instead have a left government have got it. Farmers in Punjab who voted for the Congress and not Mr. Modi have got it. But farmers in Bengal can get their arrears only if BJP comes to power in Bengal. It also says that the central government can therefore pay this money. There is no legal hurdle. My simple proposition is, if there is no hurdle, if it is due, rightfully due, as Mr. Modi himself has said, then why won't the farmers of Bengal get that money here, now, and today? Why don't you leave it to them to decide whether they want to vote for the BJP if they receive, on account of their receiving this money, or even otherwise for their faith and belief in the party? So I think I'm right in saying that the Prime Minister has actually said in that speech that I will give you the money if you vote for me. It's a vote for money appeal from the Prime Minister, which is not only illegal, unconstitutional, unethical, and every unword you can think of. This is completely unacceptable to the farming community of Bengal. And that's why we did the Kisan Adhikar Yatra. Let me quickly share a few photographs from that yatra. First, in village Bhubaneswari, in Kultali block. Then in village Boykuntapur and Uttar Boykuntapur in Kultali block. Then in villages Madhya Gurguria and Purva Gurguria. Then in Adivasi Pada, Katamari. Then in village Balaharania. Village Kuabati. Village Jiakhali. Village Chupri Jhada. And village Ateshwartala. So that's all for today. I will be back with the next bulletin on Monday. In the meanwhile, on Sunday, we'll gather more information, updates from the various protests happening all over India, and share it with you. Please take care and good evening to one and all.